Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I decided to make a video on why I moved out at 18. This is more just a kind of help video, just to kind of help you guys if you guys are in a similar predicament than me. You know, if you're younger than me as well, like obviously you don't need to be 20, but like if you're like 18, 17, 16 thinking about moving out, and you're in a kind of difficult situation, or even just wanting some knowledge on this, then feel free to obviously watch the rest of this video. Now I'm going to give you a bit of background on why I moved out at 18, and I'm also just going to go through like what my process was and how things went about, and things that I regret doing and things that I wish I knew beforehand and things like that. So anyway, we're just going to get straight into it. So first of all, like why did I move out at 18? So a lot of people probably thought that I moved out for college, but I didn't move out for college. I moved out because I didn't get on with my mum. I did not have to move out at 18, but purely because I didn't get on with my mum at the time. And the reason I didn't get on with my mum at the time was because she has the same personality as me, and I have the same personality as her. And we just butt heads constantly. It's just something that she says I don't agree with, and something that I say she doesn't agree with me. So that's just the way it goes. And because we were living in the same house, obviously, we just butt heads all the time. And it wasn't just your odd bicker, or it wasn't just like your odd argument, or you know, shouting match or whatever. This was a full-on bawling, as in like trying to hurt each other at this point. Like my mum would text me at school and tell me that I'm a horrible daughter, and I would tell her that she's a horrible mother. And when I got home from school, we would either just completely ignore each other for weeks on end, like living in the same house, just not talking to each other at all. So the way it would work was, if my mum was down the stairs like watching TV, I'd be up in my room. I wouldn't go down the stairs to get food unless I heard my mum either go out or go up the stairs into her room. Like I would not leave my room until she was like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. I also, when I got my car as well, I also just didn't come home for like, not days on end, but I just wouldn't come home like at night. So I'd wait until she left for work in the morning, then I'd go home, sleep, and then go out before she came home. Or if she came home when I was in, I would just stay in my room and just not go out at all. All this stuff kind of started, like the shouting matches and everything else, and the arguments and stuff started when I was about 12, like when I hit puberty. And I feel like my mum and dad were very strict on me, and I feel like because I'm an only child as well, I felt like they were always on my case, like always on my back to either do well, do things a certain way. Obviously I did have good times with them and things like that, but when I hit about 17, when I broke up with my ex, I decided to just kind of explore and be myself and things like that. And just, I don't think my mum and dad just liked the fact that I wanted to just kind of be with my friends and just not be at home. Now I understand where they came from at the end of the day, but some things obviously I just didn't agree with, and some stuff that they thought about me didn't agree with them, so it would just cause shouting matches and arguments. But anyway, this video isn't about why I argued with my mum. Basically, it got that bad a couple of months before I decided to move out that I was generally not speaking to my mum for months now, like months on end. We would speak to each other maybe like one weekend or something, and then something would happen that she wouldn't agree with, and we just wouldn't speak to each other for the rest of the month or whatever. So we weren't speaking to each other for like months on end. So I decided when I was 17, at about, I think it was about April, May time, like exam time, and I said I'm going to move out when I'm 18. I said to my dad, I can't live with this anymore, I'm going to move out. It was when I get accepted for college as well. I got accepted for college, and I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to move out, because I'm going to move out, I'm going to start college, I'm going to start fresh, I'm going to get new friends, I'm going to start over basically. Didn't work like that though. So basically I turned 18 in August, and I moved out on the 8th of September. So literally just over a month being 18, and I moved out. And it was just a spur of the moment decision as well. Like it wasn't even like I'd planned this out. Like I know I said for months I'm moving out, but I never actually made any plans until probably like June, July. That was why I moved out. But I just want to say this as well, if you're thinking about moving out, please think about what you are doing. Sometimes parents don't let you back in, because I know for a fact my first instinct wouldn't be able to go back to my mum's house. Please just think about what you're doing before you leave, because sometimes you might not have the option to go back, and if you don't have the option to go back, you might be stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in. Just putting that out there because I was in a similar situation and I just know how it feels. So just please think about what you're doing before you decide to move out. If you're young, like, you know, like still a teenager and want to move out, just think about it, please. So moving on to money wise, when I moved out, literally, like I said, it was a spur of the moment thing. Didn't do any research, didn't look at into anything. I just typed in online student accommodations because I thought it was the fastest way to get in a place. And because I was a student, I just thought it would be the best way ever. And I thought the places would be cheaper as well because I'm a student and people will give me a bit of leeway and blah blah blah. No, hell to the fucking no. Is that how it works at all? So basically, money wise, I was kind of just saving up. I saved up maybe like £1,000 and that was it. You know, I was just getting my paycheck in. I was paying off I paid off my car, not paid it off, but I was paying for my car, paying for my insurance for the car and my phone bill. And that was all I was paying. I didn't need to pay digs to my mum. I was very lucky that way that I didn't need to pay digs to my mum. I wasn't talking to her anyway, so we couldn't even discuss what to pay. So I saved up maybe like £1,000 and I paid my security deposit for this student accommodation very, very quickly. And it was like £250. And I was like, there you go, bang. I was like, there's £250. I was like, take it, whatever. Didn't even think to know what a security deposit was. I thought it was some American thing that just didn't exist in the UK, but it does. Didn't know that anyway. So I paid my security deposit. It was away, done, blah, blah, blah. And then they also asked for the first month's rent up front. So I was like, right, cool. Me thinking that I was going to get this nice kind of apartment kind of thing, because it did say studio room and the pictures on it were like an apartment. I had a wee mini kitchen, had a wee kind of like study area, I had like a big double bed, I had a nice like walk-in toilet, everything else like walk-in kind of washroom toilet type thing. It was like, it looked huge. Oh, was I fucking wrong. My room was a tiny wee room that, for reference by the way, if you want to go and check this out, if you go onto my second Instagram account, more of Leona, and look at my bathroom, I've got a picture of my before and after of my bathroom. That was the size of my bedroom for a reference photo, just to give yous. Like if you look at it, my bath is where my bed was and that was it. Like I had a tiny wee wardrobe and everything else. But anyway, they were offering me that for, now they said online it was £121 a week. So if you times that by 4, because there's obviously 4 weeks in a month, you times that by 4, it's £422, I think, roughly. Right? So that was fine. I was like, I can afford that. So I wrote it all down, I worked out all my bills and everything else, and I went, I can afford that, that's completely fine. They then asked for they asked for the £400 up front, and that was fine. But then obviously the day that I got my keys, I had to write down my bank details for them so that they could create a direct debit so that they could take the money out at I think it was the 17th of each month. That was completely fine with me. I wrote that down, I signed it off and took it away. The following month when I moved in, so that was the September, the October, they then proceed to take out £679 and like 34 pence or something. I was mortified when they took that money out because that's like my wages. I don't get much more than that. I get maybe like, I don't know, £40 more than that. Like I was like, at the time I was like, excuse me, you've just took like my full wages out of my bank account, like what the hell's happening? So I then had to contact them and they said because the 400 and whatever pounds, so £422 wasn't the bills included. So the bills included price was 600 and something odd pounds. And I was like, okay then. So I was like, see if I don't use the electricity for my room, or like see if I minimise the electricity for my room, can I get the price reducted? And they went no, because it's the electricity for the full building they're taking into account. The building was 12 floors, I think like 12 to 14 floors high, and they were taking into account the full building, and little old me was just taking up this small room. I was like right. And then I said to them, I was like, I can't afford that every month. I was like, can I cancel my contract? And they went, no, you've signed for 12 months. Or it was like, you've signed for 51 weeks, you can't get out of this, like you've signed it. And I was like, oh my god. So every month they were taking 670 odd quid out of my bank account, and I didn't even have that money sitting there. Like I was nearly getting luckily I never went into my overdraft, but that was only because I had like pennies left in my account. Like I didn't even have pounds, I had pennies. That's how stressful it was for me. So just for anyone that's thinking about going into student accommodation, please have money saved up to back you up, because I had to pay for my car, my insurance, my phone, petrol, and food for myself. And then obviously I'm a student, so I wanted to obviously go out and have lunch with my girls and that, and I just like, I could sometimes and I couldn't other times, and it was so stressful, and just I was constantly looking at my bank account, I was constantly looking at how much money I had, I was constantly looking for the cheapest option. It was just, it's not the way to live. Like, I was constantly down to the last pennies at the end of the month, and like, I'm just saying, please have like a good 2-3 grand sitting there so that you, like, in a savings account or in an ISA or something, so that you can back yourself up. What I learnt to do after like 6 months was, when I get paid, I wrote down the amount that I get paid, and then I wrote down all my bills and what they cost and what date they came out, like during the month, because sometimes I would get paid before some bills would come out, so I like stopped worrying about those. So I would then proceed to go through all my bills, and then I would write down what I had left disposable. I would then pop that in a savings account, and I would just take it out my savings account as I was using it. Again, I still had to keep looking for the cheapest option so that I still had some money there, but I just learnt that habit of doing that so that I would just know when things are coming out. Like, I memorise dates, like every single bill that comes out of my account now, I memorise each date. So when that date comes up, I'm like, that right, okay, so I was like, that is came out my bank account today, that means I'm left with like £4 to start off with. I think it's a really good hack on what to do. So yeah, so moving on to things to buy. So when you're going to buy things, so like it's the stuff that you don't think about, like obviously utensils, so like frying pans, pots, bowls, plates, cups. When you're buying these things, please look around and look for the cheapest one. Write down a list of what you need and think of the places that would be cheapest to go. Write that next to the item that you're going to buy. So say for example, it could be, right, so a plate set, so you get like 4 plates, 4 bowls and 4 like kind of smaller plates. So say for example, right, the cheapest place that I would think of to go would probably be B&M, right? But write B&M down, go to B&M, or even look online. You can look online, it's a lot faster obviously, but look at B&M. Say for example, it's like £25. £25 is a bit expensive for a plate set like that, right? So then say, right, Home Bargains, go to Home Bargains, could be a tenner cheaper, £15. Fucking get that then. Like, just common sense like that I just never thought of. Also, there was loads of stuff that I just didn't think that I would need until something happened and I needed it. So my room was carpeted, it wasn't laminate flooring or like hard flooring. So if I like drop something on the floor, like foundation or something, or I would then be like, so I didn't think there was anything of it, right? Because basically didn't think that I had to clean anything, because there was cleaners going around, right, cleaning the halls. So I went out one day and said to them, I've got a stain on my carpet, would you mind like cleaning my carpet? And they just looked at me and laughed, because I was like asking these cleaners to do something that I'd done, but I didn't know that I would get my security deposit took off me. So then I spoke to these ladies, and the ladies told me, and I said to them, I was like, have you got anything to clean the carpets with? And they went, no, we've only got like a hoover and a all-purpose spray for like worktops and stuff. I had like a full-on conversation with these ladies for like half an hour talking about cleaning products, because I didn't have a clue what was going on. So then I had to go to Asda and buy a carpet cleaner. Was like a good £6, by the way, that I couldn't afford to try and clean this stain out, just purely because I didn't know that I was going to get my security deposit took off me. You need to just think of the little things that you just don't think of, like sharp knives. The amount of times I had to just, if I wanted my chicken cut, I had to just cook it, burn it probably, because I didn't know how to cook at that point, until it was cooked on the inside, try and scrape the burnt bit off with a butter knife, and then obviously cut with a butter knife. The amount of times I bought like a steak or something to like, or meat, that I couldn't cut with a butter knife, and I had to just try and shred it with my nails or something. It was horrible. Towels, bed sheet, a mattress protector, please. Girls, oh my god. Girls, obviously because we get periods and things like that, please get a mattress protector if you're going somewhere it's already got a mattress put there for you, because 9 times out of 10, if the mattress has been put there for you, 1, somebody else has been sleeping in that mattress, and 2, you possibly could leak. Just think about it as well. 9 times out of 10, there's probably somebody else that's had sex on that bed. Please get a mattress protector. And I recommend the big zippy up bags. It's like basically putting the mattress in a bag and zipping it and then putting your bed sheets on top. I recommend doing that. Obviously, like if you're getting a place, like I got a student accommodation, it was literally just built. Like it was like just finished built 2 days before I moved into it. So I was lucky that obviously nobody had slept on my bed, nobody had put their butt on my toilet. Like, it was all like, the mirror still had like the plastic on it and everything. So I was lucky in that sense. Think of the things, the way I think about it now is plan yourself out like you're going on holiday and you have nothing. Do you know what I mean? Plan like you're going on holiday and you're going into a place that's got nothing, because you don't know what's going to be there and what's not. I didn't know I wasn't going to have a kettle until I wanted a cup of tea one day, and then I had to go and buy a kettle. When I think back to it, like, I think that I was so stupid, but a lot of people are the exact same as me, like, and they just wouldn't think of these things. So things I regret doing is basically, I regret not doing my research. I regret just not reading the small print on my contract before I signed it. I regret not saving enough money up and make myself stressed out my nut trying to get each month by. And just, my main point is do your research. My main point is do your research, because there is so much more out there if you just research it, and you'll have so much more knowledge. Like, if you research something. I was so emotionally drained with like going through everything with my mum and my family and everything else, and I was also getting fucked around by a stupid boy at the time, so I was also stressed about that. And I was just so like getting so messed up in the head that I just went, you know what, I'm moving out and I'm moving away. Like, I just didn't want to be in my mum's street anymore. I just didn't want to be there anymore. I didn't want to be in that house anymore. I just wanted out. And I actually didn't make in with my mum. Like, I didn't speak to my mum till the day before I was leaving. It was so weird. Like, you know how when you're like in an argument with like your friends or like with your partners or whatever, or your significant other or whatever, right? And you're just like making that small talk, like trying to get a conversation out of them. That's the way it was with my mum. Like, I was trying to make small talk with my mum, God's sake. And she just went like that, so what are all the boxes in your room for? And I went, I'm moving out tomorrow. And she was like, right. And something must have clicked to my mum, because she must have just went like, I know why you're moving out, but like, where are you going? What are you doing? Have you even thought about this? Like, I regret not saving up enough money, and I regret not taking advice off of people as well. My dad tried to tell me to do research on other things and to look into other places and stuff, and I just said to him that I did, purely because I didn't want the lecture, but I actually didn't, and I regret not listening to him now because of the stuff that I have to deal with now. But I don't need to deal with a lot now. I'm a lot happier now, but back then I probably should have listened to him. Moving on to like student accommodation alone, and I'm not talking about the student flats that are like a private let and they're private letting them out to students. Like, I'm not talking about that, because that's a wee bit different. I'm talking about the kind of corporate organisations that are like big massive student buildings, and they're like, it's like hotel rooms, and you've got like the different sizes of hotel rooms and stuff, like, or student rooms or dorms or whatever you want to call them. Like, them I don't agree with, because they are money grabbing bastards, and they just try and take as much money off of students as possible, because they're all just money. They're not trying to help the person, they're just wanting money. These organisations that are like, you know, the big massive buildings that you see. So if you live in Glasgow, or even Edinburgh as well, if you live in Scotland even, and you go into like a town centre and like where colleges and unis and stuff are, and there's just these big massive tall buildings, and they're like get different names on them and stuff, and they're student accommodations. They'll probably have a big banner saying student accommodation in the front. If it's one of these buildings, I swear to God, please do not go with them, purely because of my experience. Now, I know not everyone's experience is the same, but I just feel like they're just money grabbing bastards, and I just don't feel that students need to go through that stress, purely because we're skint enough as students. We don't need to have money took off us like any more than what we're already getting took off us. So my student accommodation basically experience, I looked up online student accommodations, like cheap student accommodations, and it came up saying £121 a week, so that's £422 a month. I think I've already said this, but I'm going to say it again. And then they proceeded to take the £600 out. Now, I'm just going to break this down for you, right? So that was for, I said, like, if you have a look at the reference photo of my bathroom, that was the size of my bedroom. I had a tiny wee kind of ensuite that was literally like, it generally was a box. It was like a 4x4 box with a stand-in shower that you could just fit 2 people in if you were like touching butt on butt. Not gonna lie, like, you couldn't even fit 2 people in the bathroom. Like, somebody would need to stand in the shower and somebody would need to stand like in the middle of the floor. Like, you couldn't even fit 2 people in, like, standing side by side, like next to the bathroom toilet or something. Like, it was so small. Like, I don't understand how they could portray that was a double room when it wasn't even a double room. So they were taking off of me 670, like I think £74. I can't remember. I can't remember what I said before, but basically it was basically 670 something they were taking off of me each month. Now I live in currently a 2-bedroom flat with a furnished kitchen and bathroom. My rent is £434 a month. Just for my rent, right? That's pretty average for a 2-bedroom flat, right? But it's actually more on the cheaper side than a 2-bedroom flat. I'm actually very, very lucky with the flat I've got right now. But anyway, my rent is £434, right? My gas and electricity is £75, and then students don't pay council tax. I'm like just over £500, right? I'm in a 2-bedroom flat to myself, basically. Okay, yeah, I do live with my boyfriend, but if I wasn't with Connor, I'd still be in this flat. Like, I didn't choose this flat because I was with my boyfriend. I chose this flat because I was coming into this flat whether I had a boyfriend or not. And I have a 2-bedroom flat to myself. And if you look on my Instagram, More Than Leona as well, it's like you have reference photos. Like I've put before and after photos of nearly every room in here, so you'll kind of see how kind of big and spacious it is. If you look at my bathroom, that was the size of my room when I was in my student accommodation. And then if you look at the flat that I'm in now, and the money difference, like it's actual mind boggling to know that like there's corporates out there that are taking money off of students like that, when you could possibly get a full flat to yourself for hundreds of pounds cheaper. Like, it's actually mind boggling. But I didn't actually know any of this until I was already in that flat. I'd already signed that contract and I was stuck. And it was when I was financially strained and I started talking about it, and then people were like, why didn't you get a council house? Why didn't you get this? Why didn't you get a mortgage? Why didn't you get this? And I'm like, why are people telling me this now? Because I'm already stuck. Now kind of moving on to like, this video is basically on like, just if someone's in the same predicament as me or in a similar predicament as me and they just kind of want to know how to like work through it and get through it, please look around. If you're thinking about moving out, please look around places, right? Because there are so many different options out there. The first option that you should definitely go for if you're trying to move out is save for a mortgage. That is the most smartest way to go, right? But if you're a student, a lot of banks and things like that, if you're applying for a mortgage, won't take students on. But your next option after that would be either a private let or a council house or a housing association house, because you're all renting. There's then like the kind of uni houses or like student houses where you would like have a group of friends and it would be a private let, but a let that are let, like they're letting for students. They're not letting for just random people in the public that are just looking for rent. Like they buy a property and rent it out to students to like help them out, which I feel is really, really good, because those type of people like bang on. Like, but so you can go down that route. Again, research it though. And then there's also the council house and housing association house. Now I'm with a housing association. I am not like ashamed to admit that. Like, I have an amazing flat and I've put a lot of work into this flat. Now, I know at the end of the day, it's never going to be mine, but I don't really care, because if I was to just get a council house, 9 times out of 10 with council, you can buy the house after 2 or 3 years. I think it's either 2 or 4 years. I'd probably be looking into buying the house anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm just not putting as much work into this flat so that I could save up money and do it to my own house, or a house that me and Connor get. So if you are going for a council house, 9 times out of 10, if it is with the pure council, then you can buy the house. But some councils don't let you do that, and also some housing associations don't let you do that. Like mine, the housing association I'm with, they don't let you buy, but you do need to sign up and go on a list for them. And normally the list for a council house is miles and miles and years long. So if you're signing up for a council house, I would sign up years in advance, months in advance, because you might not guaranteed one unless you phone up and say that your predicament is worse than it is. I only know that because it's worked for people in the past. And also, if you phone up and say that you're homeless just so that you can get a house faster, if you get offered a house and it's in a rough area and it's in an area that you don't like or you don't want, if you knock that house back, you won't go back into your space in the queue. You'll go to the bottom of the list, or they've been knocked off the list completely because you're saying that you're homeless but you're not taking the first house that's available to you. I'm just letting you know, if you are going to do that, then just be prepared that you might not get a place that you're kind of wanting, if that makes sense, like an area that you're wanting and things like that. But that's a whole different video, like purely on council houses and the way they go about things. But that was just kind of like a wee insight on things to remember and things like that. So we're going to end this video here, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I know it's a wee bit lengthy, but it's more of a helping kind of educational video, like to help anyone that's possibly thinking about moving out, who are possibly younger than when I was when I moved out, or the same age as me and they don't know what to do and things like that. So it was just to kind of give you a wee more of a kind of insight on me, and also just to give people an insight on what moving out can possibly happen. Now, people can move out and it can be all plain sailing, but people can move out and it can be a shit show. And it turned out to be a shit show at the start, but I was lucky enough that I met Connor and just were nice enough to just kind of like keep me being and like, you know, keep me going and things like that. Because I always say this, but I generally don't think I'd be here today if it wasn't for Connor. So I just wanted to end it on that note. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and also if you'd want a part 2 of this video or adapt on some of the points that I made, please leave a comment down below and let me know. And also if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, guys. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.